Chidanand. RajghattaUS President Donald Trump on Saturday scored his first significant legislative victory by getting a $1.4 trillion tax reform bill through the Senate, even as an FBI probe into his Russian connection reached into his family after his son-in-law Jared Kusher emerged as a central figure in the Moscow outreach. TNN Updated December 3, 2017, 0635 ISTThe bill will have to be reconciled with the House version and signed by the President before it becomes law. A significant feature of the bill is the reduction in corporate tax from the current 35% to 20%. Meanwhile, the FBI probe reached into Trump's family after his son-in-law emerged as a central figure in the Moscow outreach. Washington. U.S. President Donald Trump on Saturday scored his first significant legislative victory by getting a $1.4 trillion tax reform bill through the Senate, even as an FBI probe into his Russian connection reached into his family after his son-in-law Jared Kusher emerged as a central figure in the Moscow outreach. It was 2 a.m. on Saturday morning when the Trump-inspired tax legislation, the first tax overhaul since the Reagan era, was passed 5,149 in a Senate where Republicans have 52 votes. Senator Bob Corker went against the party, but many moderate Republicans gritted their teeth and voted for bill even though it was pilloried in many quarters for favoring the wealthy and corporates at the expense of the minorities, students, and future generations that will have to pay for today's largesse. The bill will have to be reconciled with the House version and signed by the President before it becomes law, a process that is expected to be fairly smooth, giving Trump his first major policy win amid a deepening political crisis. Democrats, all of whom voted against it, raged against the bill but were unable to prevent its passage. The final text of bill was released only a few hours before the vote, with many lawmakers and their staffers saying there were addenda and notes in the margins dictated by special interests and lobbyists. Biggest tax bill and tax cuts in history just passed in the Senate. Now these great Republicans will be going for final passage. We are one step closer to delivering massive tax cuts for working families across America. Look forward to signing a final bill before Christmas, Trump tweeted, even as Democrats pilloried him for projected increase in deficits that future generations will have to pay for and cuts that would eliminate welfare programs for the poor. A significant feature of the bill is the reduction in corporate tax from the current 35% to 20% that Trump argues will ignite our economy with levels of growth not seen in generations. But liberals and Democrats contested the claim, saying America's robber barons had simply staged a legislative heist. Under a hashtag tax scam bill that trended throughout the day in U.S., one activist called it the most astonishing display of the consolidation of power in our oligarchy masquerading as a democracy. The Republican response: Democrats would rather hurt Americans than see it POTUS succeed. Tax reform helps every American, but especially those wanting a job. I guess the party of handouts isn't interested in jobs. The tax bill vote and wrangle came just hours after it emerged that the senior Trump campaign member who instructed former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn to reach out to the Russians much before Trump took office was none other than his son-in-law Jared Kushner. The disclosure does not necessarily prove collusion between Trump and Russia, but it brought the FBI probe from the fringes of the campaign to inside the White House and into the family circle. The fact that Flynn has agreed to a plea deal with FBI after admitting he lied to them has sent the Trump White House into panic amid reports that he is ready to squeal on Trump and family. Hours after the plea deal, the president's aides distanced themselves even further from Flynn, making the remarkable case that he had served only 24 days in the Trump White House as National Security Advisor and he was actually an Obama administration official since he had served for long years in the government. The small problem with such alternate facts is that Trump went overboard on record repeatedly praising Flynn both before and after he was implicated. Obama had also warned Trump not to hire Flynn after reportedly easing him into retirement because of his management style. Besides, there is Flynn's famous video from the Republican convention in Cleveland in which he is seen geeing up a crowd chanting lock her up with reference to Hillary Clinton. Social media feasted on the irony, and as Flynn emerged from FBI Special Counsel Robert Mueller's office on Friday, hecklers shouted lock him up. Get latest news live updates on the go on your PC with News app. Download the Times of India News app for your device. Related property share MILF Profit Software Private Limited Travel Fund to Livingly Trump. Flynn's actions during the transition were lawful and big win for Trump. U.S. Senate approves $1.5 trillion tax reform bill.